What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Ethan's Exotic Escapades. Today, I'm finally going to be revealing what I was alluding to in the last video that I did. And here's my dog, Anakin. He wants to check out what we're doing too. But we're actually going to be setting up a saltwater tank. And this is my friend Cam. He knows how to do saltwater way better than me. So he's going to actually show me how to set up my saltwater tank. Before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe to join the tribe, and let's go ahead and get started. All right, here's an overview of everything that you're gonna need. This is a bucket, and we have a pump and a siphon tube to mix the salt water. And then I got this Tetra 20-gallon tank that has everything with it. It's an all-in-one tank. Then I have this aragonite Carib Sea sand for the tank. And then I have 10 pounds of this purple rock. And then I have a refractometer, and this is the solution for it. And then we've got Reef Pro Mix Premium Sea Salt for mixing with our water right here. And this we got from Aquatic Planet. This is just reverse osmosis water. The first thing we're going to do is unpack the tank. All right, we've unpacked everything from the tank, and we've also went ahead and rinsed the tank. It's always a good idea to go ahead and rinse your tank to make sure that there's nothing dirty inside of the tank. Now we're going to go ahead and empty the sand into this bucket because we're going to go ahead and rinse it to make sure it's good for the tank.
All right, so now we're just cleaning the sand and making sure pretty much all of the particles, because most of this is real sand out of the ocean. So we're just making sure that the particles are all out of it and that pretty much the water runs clear so there's no more dust, so it doesn't clog up our tank pretty much. So we just do this for 10 minutes until the water runs clear.
All right, we've rinsed it about 5 times and it started getting pretty clear, so we think that the sand is good enough to go ahead and put it in the tank.
All right, so next we're gonna pour the sand into the tank.
All right, now we're gonna go ahead and start mixing our salt water. Now we're gonna go ahead and drop the pump in the water so that we can get it started in a second.
All right, so now you wanna take a half a cup per gallon of the salt mix. And this is a lot thicker than your table salt. And pretty much just slowly pour it in there while it mixes. And it's gonna make the water cloudy, but that only lasts about 30 minutes. So since this is 5 gallons of water, we need 5 gallons of salt, or 5 scoops of salt. So much easier to mix it in a 5-gallon bucket than my big tub that I have. 3, 4, and that's about 5. You want to let it fully mix first, but just to see what it's at. So this is a refractometer. So it pretty much tells you your salinity, and then it will show the temperature at the bottom. So right now we're at 1.000, which is clean, and it's 73 degrees. But if I stick it in here, that number is going to go up, and we're looking for 1.025. So all the salt's not mixed, so that's why it's not that high yet. But that's the salinity, and then it's at 73.6 degrees.
All right, while we are waiting for all of the salt to mix up in our bucket, we're gonna go ahead and pat our sand down.
So sometimes, when you're setting up a saltwater tank, well, not sometimes, but all the time, you want a 1 to 2 inch sand bed for your saltwater tank, because there's wrasse fish, and there's also different types of snails that bury themselves in the sand, like worms, and that's how they sleep and that's how they live. So I always recommend 1 to 2 pounds of sand per gallon. So this is a 20-gallon tank, and this is 20 pounds of sand, which will give us about an inch sand bed.
And if the pump doesn't mix it well enough, you can take this end of the vacuum off so that you can mix it up manually, but this pump should do the trick, so we don't really have to worry about this.
So this is pretty much a fountain pump that I got at, you can get at any hardware store. I got this at Harbor Freight, but it's really cheap. It's $11, and it pretty much just circulates the water and allows this the salt to mix with the water. You can do it by hand with a spoon, but that just takes too long. This is the lazy way. So All right, so when mixing salt water, you want the water to be at 1.025, 1.026 range. So right now we're at 1.026, but we're also at 72.5 and it's going up a little bit, which is like room temperature. Salinity changes depending on the temperature of the water. So this is gonna heat up to like 79 when we put it in the tank and we put a heater in there. So as temperature rises, the salinity drops. So this will eventually drop to 1.025. And if it doesn't, 1.026 is still like right where we want to be.
Now we can go ahead and pour our first bucket of water into our tank.
This is like the stressful part, right? This is why we use a pump. All right, it's going to be very cloudy because we're stirring up the sand, but...
And one other thing that I forgot to mention that you need to have is this stability. This is to help set up beneficial bacteria in your tank. All right, now we're putting all of the rocks inside of the tank, but you're not really going to be able to see them yet because it's a little murky, but we've got them in there. Next, we're going to show how to use my refractometer that I got from Amazon.
All right, so this is calibration fluid. It pretty much calibrates this. You need it to be calibrated to 35 parts per thousand or 1.025, and this helps you check like the salinity of your water. So you just like drip it on there, or if you're getting water from the tank, you just like grab it out of here like this, and then drip it with this. Pretty much close this, and then when you look in there, you're looking for either 35 parts per thousand, which is on the right, or 1.025, which is on the left side. It's like a little screen thing. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
You hold it up to your face like you're a pirate. Maybe, yeah, maybe. Oh, yeah, there you go.
There you go, yeah.
Here is our second bucket that we're mixing up for our salt water. Here's the second bucket going in. Now we're mixing the third bucket and dumping the final bucket in right here.
All right, so now our salinity is perfectly at 1.026.
All right, now we have the filter installed. If you don't know how to install this filter that comes with this particular setup, then you can just read the directions. It's pretty easy to set it up, and we've got it plugged in. Now we're gonna fill up the back of it so that we can get it to start working. And now we have the filter going.
All right, so now we're gonna put the filter in the tank.
Or the heater.
Oh yeah, the heater. I always put it by the filter because it allows more circulation in the water. So.
And you have to make sure that you don't have it plugged in before you put it in the tank.
You will explode it, and then you'll have glass everywhere.
You'll become Walter White.
All right, now we just need the light, and then you pretty much just wait for it to clear up. Put your bacteria in there, so we're using stability, and let it get clear, let it cycle, and add fish like 4 to 6 weeks later, pretty much. And test the water every 2 weeks to make sure everything is on track and where it needs to be. So the testing kit that I use to test is Saltwater. That's my most like recommended like budget-friendly test. If you want to be like a little more fancy and get the more like fancier ones, you can get Hannah test kits. Those are like actually certified. They're used in the actual ocean. And then just another like basic test kit is Sera. Those are really good, like SERA. Really good test kits. The big test kit that I recommend, like if you want to spend a lot of money right away, is the Hannah Master Test Kit. It has everything you need, like all the parameters to test. But it is a little pricey. I think it's like $600. But that's pretty much it. You need to test for ammonia, nitrate, nitrite, and pH. Your pH you should only have to test like once or twice because pretty much saltwater your pH will never go down unless you have a major problem. But I don't know. Never had pH issues. Your ammonia is going to spike obviously right as you add bacteria. And then your nitrate and nitrite are going to spike after that. And then obviously once everything reaches 0, that's when you would be able to add fish. And then some other stuff you can test for is like calcium, magnesium, alkalinity, and then potassium and iodine, but you don't really have to test for those two. That's only when you plan to add corals. So like 6 to 9 months after you get the tank set up is when you would probably start testing for those.
Would you also use those testing kits to test if you have anemones?
Yeah. So sea anemones, they have like really particular parameters. Like their pH likes to be between 8 and 9, or their alkalinity, not pH. When you add your bacteria in here, you also want to make sure you're adding an ammonia source. So whether that can be liquid ammonia or like food, just sprinkle food in here so it can break down so these things have something to eat.
All right, we went ahead and sprinkled some of the food in here. Now we're gonna put on the light for the
put it together.
for the top of the lid that I have. And you can also get a mesh lid, but that is really, you don't really need that unless you're gonna do coral, because you need the light to be able to shine through.
And you need you need special lights for stuff like that.
All right, that is it for the tank for right now until tomorrow, whenever I will probably be adding some of this stability. But you can see it's pretty cloudy right now, but that's normal. And we have the light on, but can't see anything. And I'll also probably fix the rocks tomorrow as well. Actually, the last thing I'm going to do is put some tape right here at this fill line so I know where to fill reverse osmosis water back up to whenever it is going down. It might also be a good idea if you can find a marker. You could also use a marker to mark this as well. Now I've got the tape on. You can kind of see right here a little bit where the line is. All right, it's been about a whole 24 hours, so now it's going to be time for us to add some stability. Since this bottle isn't all the way full, I'm going to go ahead and use half of what I have in here now. It's filled up about this much, so I'm going to do half right now, and then tomorrow I'll do the other half. Stability is what's going to help us establish some beneficial bacteria in our saltwater tank. And you can see after about 24 hours how much more clear our tank has gotten. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take the lid off. I'm just going to set the lid right here for right now. Now I'm going to go ahead and add our stability. I'm going to add about half of this bottle, and then I'll add the other half tomorrow. And while I am in here, I'm going to go ahead and add some more of this fish food so that our beneficial bacteria will have something that it can eat. So it's important to not do a whole bunch. So that little amount right there is good enough. And now, might as well, since I'm already fixing some of the tank, move our rock a little bit. Can't see it super good now because now I have stirred it all up again. But when we check in tomorrow and I put the rest of the stability in, we'll be able to see it a lot better. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. Now it's the next day, so it is cleared up once again, and you can see what I have aquascaped, and I'm gonna go ahead and add the rest of the stability. All right. Here we go. And I'm also in a couple of days going to add another small bottle of stability just so that I can make sure that I have enough beneficial bacteria in my tank. All right, it's been a couple more days and I've got another bottle of stability. This is going to be the last bottle that I'll be adding to my saltwater tank so that it can get the beneficial bacteria that it needs. So in all, you're going to need to add, because this little bottle is 50 milliliters, and I used half of that bigger bottle, which was also about 50 milliliters. I would do about 100 milliliters of stability to make sure that you have a good established beneficial bacteria going in your tank. Now, you're not going to need this stability if you get live rock, which you can get that at a variety of different fish stores. If they have saltwater, they generally will have live rock. That's just rock that's been established in a saltwater tank that already has the beneficial bacteria. For a tank that's this size, you would only need about 2 pieces of live rock, and then you wouldn't have to use this stability. All right, got it open, went ahead and poked a hole in it so I can go ahead and put the rest of the stability in. And I'm also just going to put a little bit more of these flakes in here so that the beneficial bacteria has something to eat. Like I was saying earlier about the tape that I have put on this tank, that is so that I will know how much to fill the water up to whenever the water starts evaporating, because salt does not evaporate. And I am still going to be using the reverse osmosis water, which I have gotten from Aquatic Planet, and they will have reverse osmosis water at most fish stores that you can ask for. So you don't have to have reverse osmosis water to set up saltwater tank, but it is the best practice by far to use this. it will greatly benefit your tank using reverse osmosis water. So I filled that jug up with it, and I fill this up with the reverse osmosis water from the jug, and then I pour it in here to make sure that I have it to the right fill line. And I do this about every other day because the water will evaporate about an inch or so every other day after 2 days. So got to be on top of refilling it with more of the reverse osmosis water. All right, so it's been about 2 weeks now, and it is time for us to test the water in the saltwater tank. So I have all of the stuff that we're going to be testing right here, and then the chart right here. So for saltwater, we want to be at 8 to 8.4 with this high range pH. The pH level needs to be between 8 and 8.4. And then for everything else, the ammonia, nitrate, and nitrate, since it's a new tank, everything should be at 0 parts per million. So I'm gonna test to make sure that everything looks right. Okay, now I have all of the test tubes filled up to the 5 milliliter line with my salt water that came from my house. And now that I have them filled up, I'm going to start doing all of the chemicals that need to be done. So I'm going to start with the high range pH, and then I will just go down the line. And I'm using the fresh and saltwater master testing kit by API. Here's the high range pH test solution, and I just need to add 5 drops. When you add chemicals to each test tube, you have to make sure that you're shaking up each one. Next, I'm going to be doing the ammonia, which are both of these bottles. So I've got to start with the first bottle, and I just need to add 8 drops. And now I'm going to do the second bottle, which is also 8 drops. Next is the nitrite, and this one's only 1 bottle, and I have to add 5 drops. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And now the final one that I'm testing is nitrate. So this one has 2 bottles, and each one is 10 drops. And then I'm going to let these sit for 5 minutes so that I get a good accurate result. Now that I've let them sit for a while, we're going to go ahead and check what levels we're at. So for this one, for the pH, we are at a 7.8, and we're starting to go to a 8.0. So this is 7.8 is okay for saltwater, but we want it to get at least to an 8.0. So this will rise on its own. And then the ammonia, it's really 0.25 parts per million, so this is okay as well. It's not the best. The best would be 0, but this is 0.25. And then the nitrite is at 0, so this is perfect. This is exactly what we want. And for nitrate, we really want 0 or 5.0, and this is at a 5.0 parts per million, so this is pretty good too. So both of these levels look pretty good right now. The nitrite and the nitrate look pretty good. The ammonia is not the best, but it's okay. And then the pH is in the same situation where it's not the best, but it's okay. So we want it to get to at least 8.0. And all of this stuff should level itself out as we wait 2 more weeks for the tank to cycle. So I'm going to test these all again in 2 more weeks. And that way it's been about a month that my tank has been cycling. So I'll see y'all then. All right, guys, it's officially been a month today. So hopefully the water levels, all of them are correct so that we can add some saltwater fish. And we're going to go ahead and check everything. It was close to being perfect the last time, so I think a couple levels were off, but we're going to test them all again to make sure that it is safe for our fish. Okay, now that I've let them sit here for a little bit, I've got all of my readings. So for the high range, this is really in between 8 and 7.8, or it's even starting to go closer to 8.2. So this is good. So I'm not gonna have to check this one anymore, and I'll leave this one for last. We'll do these 2 next. Nitrate is perfect. It's at 0 parts per million, or nitrite, and then nitrate is perfect as well because it's at about 5.0 2.0 parts per million. So anywhere between these two is where you want to have it. And then this is not good. So this is in between 0.25 and 0.50 parts per million. This is not good. The ammonia is too high in the tank, so I'm not going to be able to add fish just yet, but I am going to be getting some more beneficial bacteria to put into the tank so that I can counteract this this high ammonia level, because this is toxic for the fish. So I need to make sure that I get this down before I add my saltwater fish. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some more beneficial bacteria and add that to the tank. I'm probably gonna do it for 2 days, but I'll see y'all when I do that. And I did forget to mention, I'm going to now just be testing ammonia, and I'm gonna start just testing it every day to see if it drops any, because I need it to drop before I can add some fish. So I'm also gonna be testing the ammonia from now on. I'm not gonna need to test these other ones because all those levels are looking good. Now I'm going to be adding 3 more caps of this stability because I need more beneficial bacteria in my tank. Okay, I've tested the water again after adding more of the stability. I added about three caps full of the stability, and now it is testing out on the ammonia test that it's at about 0.25 parts per million, just a little bit tended towards that way. So now it is safe for us to go ahead and add saltwater fish. It's not perfect, but it is good enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some fish. The other thing that I have to do before I get the fish is test the salinity one more time to make sure that it's good. I've already used this dropper and put some drops of the salt water right here and then closed this little flap. And now I just have to hold it up into the direct sunlight, or this isn't sunlight, this is just light, but it needs to be 1.025, and it is at 1.025, so it is safe to add fish. Now that we are finally able to add our fish, I went ahead and purchased 2 fish for us to add to this tank. And it's also what I would recommend you add to your saltwater tank for your first fish, and that is clownfish. I got 2 clownfish. It's always a good idea to start off with 2, and they do well together. I have 2 different species. Well, they're actually different morphs, but they're both Ocellaris clownfish. This one is just a regular Ocellaris clownfish. You can see him going crazy right there. And then I have this guy who is a little bit bigger. This is a black photon clownfish, and he also is very healthy. But you have to do something a little bit different whenever you acclimate your new saltwater fish to your tanks. The first thing I'm going to do is have both of the bags sitting in the water for about 15 minutes so that they can get used to the temperature in this tank. So here's the first one, and then here is the second bag going in. But these fish are not like regular freshwater fish. Since they're saltwater fish, their saltwater that they came in could be different than my saltwater. So I have to add saltwater from my tank into their bag about every 15 minutes for about an hour. And then I have to test the salinity in the bag and then the salinity in my tank to make sure that it matches up right. And then if it does, then I can finally add the fish. So I'm gonna let these float for 15 minutes, and then I will get back to y'all here in a second. Now that they've been sitting in there I actually let them sit in there for about 30 minutes instead of the 15 minutes. They are acclimated to the temperature that my aquarium is at. So now I can cut open both of the bags. Now I have to add some of my salt water into here and do it the first time. And then I need to have a timer for 15 minutes, and then I have to keep doing that for about an hour, or until the salinity matches in the tank and the bags. So this is really like a double shot glass, which is what I'm going to use to do the water. So I'm going to do about half of this shot glass in both of these. All right, about half of the shot glass. I'm gonna go ahead and pour this water into this bag right here. And I'm trying to do it slowly. And now I'm gonna do it again for that other bag. All right, now I'm gonna pour this one into this bag. And now I'm gonna let them sit in their bags for about 15 minutes, and then I'm gonna test the salinity in well, I know what my tank is. It's 1.025 parts per million, so I'm going to make sure that it's the same in these bags. Now that it's been about 15 minutes, I'm gonna go ahead and check the salinity in both of these bags. I doubt that it's gonna be right. Mine is still at 1.025, which is what I'm wanting it to be at. I'm gonna go ahead and do some drops on this refractometer, and then close this on top of it. And then you have to hold it up to the light, and you're looking for the blue line, and it is at 1.020. So that is not the same as mine. So I'm gonna keep on doing this for that bag until it is extremely close to what it is in my tank. Now I have to test it in this other bag, which I'm sure it will probably be the same as that bag, but I'm gonna check it anyway. It is also at a little bit above 1.020, so I'm gonna have to keep on doing this every 15 minutes where I add water from my tank into these bags until it is ready. So I will see you when hopefully these are ready to be put inside of the tank. I finally got the levels pretty close. The closest that I was able to get it without overflowing these bags was 1.024, and this is 1.025, so that's close enough. I'm gonna pour them both into this Tupperware bin, and then I'm going to scoop them from there and put them inside of there. So it took a while to get them right, but it does take a while. You can also drip acclimate, which you might find easier, but I didn't have anything to drip acclimate, so I just added water myself. There's the first one, and now I'm gonna pour this second one in here. And it is a good idea to do this as fast as you can so that you don't stress them out too much. So now I'm going to scoop them with my net. You can see how that this one guy is a little bit bigger. Come on, guys. Might have to do one at a time, maybe. All right, got the big guy first. I'm gonna go ahead and drop him into the tank. All right, there he goes. And now to get this little one. All right, got him inside. Now I'm going to drop him in with his other buddy. And there he goes, down to the bottom with his, he actually went straight to the other clown. So I've got my Photon Black and then my regular Oscillaris clownfish. Well, they're both Oscillaris, but that is a different morph of an Oscillaris. They look to like it pretty good. And you can see they are already swimming around exploring their new home, and they are having themselves a blast. And I have already named them. The big one is Joker and the smaller one is Harley Quinn. Now that they've been in here overnight, they are still doing good. This is going to be the first time that I have fed them, so I'm going to drop a couple of these Marine S pellets in here. Hopefully they will like it. They might not come up right now, but I have dropped some in there. They're around the back, hiding in the rocks, because I think I scared him a little bit. There they are. They're starting to come out. I'm gonna keep an eye on them and see if I can catch them going up to eat their food. They are finally coming out to eat. They were being a little bit shy, but the pellets started dropping and now they are starting to come out. I've gotten that one eating a little bit. See if he finds another pellet. I missed him a second ago. Oh, there he went. Got him a pellet. And that other one got one back there in the back, but I didn't get it on camera. Oh, there's another one. Got another pellet. So it's good. They are eating. Before we end this video off, I wanted to show y'all one more thing, and it's right there behind me. So let's go check it out. This is my new saltwater tank at the store that someone gave it to me. I've got some different coral inside of this tank, and then I have this very, very beautiful clownfish right here. It is a maroon gold line black clownfish, and he doesn't look like he's too happy right now, but I've got a whole bunch of different snails in here, and then I also have a shrimp in here as well, but he is hiding somewhere. Don't think I'm gonna be able to find him. Normally he hides under this rock right here where this guy is hiding, but he's not under there. But here's the new setup, and it's running on this fluval down here. And I have this right here, a protein skimmer. It's working pretty good. Just wanted to show you all this because it is a new addition to my store. And this guy is 12 years old wherever he went. The clownfish in here is 12 years old. There he is. He finally came out. My little shrimp buddy. Upside down. You can barely see him. That's his whiskers right there. Oh, flipped upside down, and now he is going and hiding again. All right, that's gonna do it for today's exotic escapade. If you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe to join the tribe, and I'll see you on the next one.